Yo guys, welcome to another video. Today's one, obviously you can tell it's a little bit different from the norm. For those of you who know me, I'm a massive football fan. Um, I've loved football my whole life. I even went to university abroad to pursue it and try and get as close to the professional game as possible while still pursuing a degree. Until this day, I still love football. And obviously, yesterday, the football world, the football community was hit by tragic news of the passing of football player, Liverpool player, former Wolverhampton player, Portuguese international player Diogo Jota, and his brother Andre, who were both killed in a car accident. Reports are that the car had a popped tire or blown tire while driving and lost control, and obviously the rest is history. 99% of my content, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat when I used to use it, has always been about the gym, fitness. It's very rarely about this kind of stuff. It's very rarely about football or anything political. I tend to stick to my lane, but in light of this news, it's rocked me. It's rocked me and a lot of other people as well. And I'll tell you why it's rocked me, because people lose their lives every day, and it's one of very few things that you are promised in life. If you are a person of faith, you know that, and you hold on to hope of something bigger. If you're not a person of faith, then obviously you don't have that ideal, but it still hurts nonetheless. So the reason why it rocked me is because I have experience of losing someone in tragic circumstances, which makes it difficult to talk about this stuff without getting emotional. But at the same time, I think it's good to talk. Another reason why it hit me was because I was just in Spain 2 weeks ago, and a couple of days before that I was in Portugal with my whole family, my immediate family, mum, dad and 2 sisters. And when we landed in Portugal going to the hotel, we were in a taxi to the hotel, and the taxi driver was driving really quick along this long stretch of road, basically their motorway. He was driving really quick. He was doing about 140, 150 kilometers per hour, which I think is about 80 miles per hour. I was in the front seat. I felt like he was moving quick, but I didn't really think too much of it. And eventually my dad pointed it out and, instructed the driver to slow down. We got to the hotel fine, but I say all that to say this horrific incident with Jota rocked me because we were kind of just in that situation. And it made me think, and I was having a conversation with my mum yesterday, so before this video has been taped, about all the things that you avoid, the dangers that you avoid, both known and unknown. Me and my family being in that car, taxi drivers going really fast. God forbid, but we could have been in that kind of situation, right? Even years ago, I remember years ago in university, driving, I borrowed my friend's car, driving on the highway. It was in America, so I'll call it a highway, but Every non-American knows what I mean. I was driving and in the fast lane, and the driver side front tire popped while I was driving. I was close to the wall, so I remember the car moving, but I managed to pull over. And again, didn't think too much of it. But I do remember when the police came, because they drove past and asked me if I was okay. And they said, wow, yeah, you know, that could have been dangerous, because it could have pulled you towards the wall, etc., etc. So again, I don't want to make this too much about myself, but it made me think of those kind of snapshots, those moments where certain dangers are avoided and you don't think too much of it. And then you hear the news of Jota and his brother, and it makes you think, wow, like nothing's promised. On this unfortunate occasion of Jota, in the past it could have been someone else. It's scary. And I didn't actually realize, but Jota's younger than me. You know, he's younger than me. You know, just married his longtime girlfriend, now wife. Had 3 kids. Just won the league with Liverpool. Just won the Nations League with Portugal. You know, that's the peak. He's basically at the peak of life. You know, the peak of life. And it's gone. It's gone. Yeah, and it just makes you think, like, no matter how much money you got, no matter how good you think you have it, it's not promised. And anything can happen. So in times like this, you're going to hear a lot of cliches, a lot of sweeping statements, but that doesn't make them any less potent. Hold on to those who are close to you. Let go of things that aren't mission critical. Forgive, forget, love, live, laugh. Because it can go. It can go. Yeah. You know, going back to the football aspect, it will be tough for those Liverpool players to move on. Adding some context to this, again, I have experience of losing someone in such fashion. And the person I lost, we used to play football together, went to school together, knew his family, knew his mum, played Xbox. If we weren't playing football, we were at school. If we weren't at school, we were playing Xbox. Like, we were close. So I can't imagine what that Liverpool dressing room is feeling like, and they obviously have to come back to the club quite soon, to be fair. But God willing, they can, you know, rally together. They can, you know, support one another and potentially use that as fuel to fire them to, while I'm not a Liverpool supporter, you hope they can use it as fuel to fire, you know, whatever success they may have this season. So yeah, you know, that's kind of all I had to say. I'm someone that, probably like a lot of people, death hurts. And I love football, so it kind of feels close to home. And it's a bit weird just going about the day without talking about it. So yeah, I thought I'd use this as an opportunity to do that. I also don't want to feel like a robot. just coming on here and talking about the gym and gains and protein, etc., when there's kind of other things on my mind. So, you know, this is a good outlet for that, and who knows, maybe it'll help someone else. But yeah, anyway, I'll stop there. Hopefully I've made sense. As always, you know, appreciate your support of the channel. Peace.